Wonderful. All right, well, thank you everybody for coming to our information session today on a Friday. We really appreciate your time and interest in the VITA program here at United Way. My clicker's decided not to work. Okay. All right, so welcome to the United Way of Tucson and Southern Arizona. We've been in Arizona for over 100 years, so we are a very well-established nonprofit. And our mission is to build a thriving community by uniting people, ideas, and resources. And as we'll learn today, the VITA program is a really important component of the United Way here in Tucson, and it is our largest service program. My name is Mimi, and I am the Outreach and Volunteer Coordinator for the VITA program. And I'll just let my other colleagues introduce themselves as well, and then we'll just go around real quickly. And if all of you could just say your name and a little bit about yourself, that would be great.
So my name is Carlton Miller. I'm a VITA program manager. I've been with United Way about 9 years and newer to actually working with the VITA program, but have volunteered in the past. So I look forward to working with everybody. And I'll introduce Alan.
Alan?
Hey everyone, my name is Alan. I am the project manager for VITA. I'm out of frame of the camera because I'll be manning the camera as well as some other back-end Zoom stuff. But I've been with the program for about 2 years now, and I'm excited to be interacting with you all for this season.
Thank you. All right, so if we can we have somebody here in the room, Maria, is it Maria? All right, so just tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Maria, and I just childcare provider, so I like to learn more about taxes and how to read my own papers too, because I really need to know.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. You go call people out for me because I can't see them.
Diane?
Yeah.
Hi, yeah, I'm retired, recently moved to Arizona and was looking for some volunteer work.
Wonderful. Okay, well, thanks, Diane.
All right, and there's someone here named Jokes.
Jokes.
Jokes, if you want to introduce yourself really quick, if you're able.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's okay.
It's okay, we can move on. How about Martha?
Hi, my name is Martha Rubalcaba, and I'm enrolled in PIMA. I'm a student in PIMA Community College, and I'm very interested on preparing taxes, also because I love numbers,
Okay.
and and I need 40 hours too. So
Okay. Wonderful. Well, 40 hours is just what we need you for, so that's perfect.
and
All
if
right.
you need me more, that's all, but that's fine too.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we have Ted.
Hi, my name is Thảo. I'm currently a junior student in accounting major at the LA College of Management. I would like to volunteer because I would like to earn more experience for my career in the future. That's all.
And did I meet you at Eller Town?
Yes,
Okay. You're in the car park, right?
yes.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right. And Peg, do you want to introduce yourself really quick?
How's that? Hi, my name is Peg, and this is my first year. Seeing if this is something I want to do. For a career, I was an enrolled agent and I fought the IRS for taxpayers, and I've taken 10 years sabbatical and come back to see some way to volunteer using my knowledge.
Wonderful.
Great.
Well, thank you so much, Peg.
Cheryl, you want to introduce yourself really quick?
Hello, my name is Cheryl, and I am a first-time volunteer. I still work full time, but my husband passed away a few years ago, and I had to have my taxes prepared, and I was charged really a lot of money. And so I don't want other people to have to go through that. So I want to learn to help.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much.
Let's move over to Braxton.
Hi, I'm a senior in the University of Arizona's financial planning program, and so I have a lot of experience with tax planning, but not so much tax preparation. So I'm excited to get that experience and help some people out along the way.
Wonderful. Were you at the accounting chat that we did a couple of weeks ago at Eller?
I was not, no.
No. Okay. All right. That's okay. Well, welcome. Thank you, Braxton.
Thank you.
Up next is Dee Dee. Dee Dee, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you. My name's Dee Dee. I currently live in the DC area, but I was born and raised in Tucson. And so that's kind of what interests me in this opportunity. I'm getting my second bachelor's in accounting. And so I would love to be a tax volunteer. I think it's a great way to learn about taxes and help others. And thank you for doing this Zoom call. I'm really interested in learning more.
Wonderful. And as we'll go through the presentation, Dee Dee, you'll see that there are virtual opportunities to prepare taxes, so you don't have to actually be present in Arizona to participate as a volunteer.
Wow, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, we're very flexible. Is that everybody?
Good night.
Yeah, we have Meg Sharp and Veronica.
Okay, Meg. Hey, Meg.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good, thanks.
So Meg Sharp, so I actually volunteered. This would be my second year, but I did sort of the fall season ending result this past year. I previously worked in tax as a CPA, and I'm actually have evolved my career a little bit in doing something else now that I'm in Tucson, but wanted to sort of utilize my past experience and support the community, obviously in this way. So this is where I decided to hopefully do that. So we'll look forward to really, I think, the spring push, without a doubt, which will be probably a little bit, quite a bit more people, I'm guessing, this time around.
Yes, it's much busier during the main season than the extended season, but it's great to have you back, Meg. Thank you.
All right, and that is it. Veronica is unable to use her audio, so she'll be introducing herself through chat.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. So thanks again. If you have any questions as we progress, Maria, feel free to interrupt, but if you're online, put your questions in the chat, and then Alan will interrupt and let us know that you've got a question, okay? So the goal of today's presentation is just to gain a better understanding of VITA and why it matters in our community, as well as a bit about the impact and then how you can get involved in the program. So we will we'll provide an overview of what the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program is, why VITA does matter to the people that participate in it as tax filers and as volunteers, how it works, so kind of the day-to-day processes that volunteers undertake, as well as next steps on how to get involved, and then we'll have time for questions as well. All right, so I know that some of you are familiar with VITA. But we do, VITA is a national program sponsored by the IRS, and it provides quality tax preparation services at no cost for individuals and households earning under $79,000 a year. As I mentioned, it's IRS sponsored and funded by grants, and the United Way has been running VITA for about 20 years now. A bit about all volunteers that participate in VITA must be tax certified by the IRS, and this means annual testing. It doesn't sound as scary as that. And then the tests that you have to take really depend upon the role that you play, either as a tax preparer or an intake specialist, but we will go through those roles in a little bit. And then VITA is a nationwide program with a great reputation. So it's been around for about 50 years, and because our tax preparers get certified on an annual basis, we provide really high quality services to our clients. And as the name implies, VITA is volunteer driven. So without our volunteers, the program would not exist. So your volunteers are really an essential component of this program, because without it, we could not deliver this essential service to those individuals in our community. All right, so why does VITA matter? All right, well, as a couple people have alluded to, tax preparation can be very expensive. If you've had an interaction with any paid tax preparers, you will know that for each schedule or each W-2, the price goes up. So generally, a really basic return with just one W-2 runs for about $250. If you have additional complexity, like education credits or things like that, the fees go up. So at VITA, we try to help taxpayers avoid those the fees, as well as any predatory lending. We all know that those anticipation loans actually get kicked off on Black Friday. So they try to already get you into debt before you've even filed your return. So at VITA, we try to avoid you getting involved with any of that. VITA can also provide other benefits. We can help connect you to banking. So if you are a tax filer and you don't have a bank account, we have access to a low-cost card and bank account that we help you set up. We can also help you manage debt and provide referrals to other financial services in the community. We also assist households to maximize their credits and receive the refund that they deserve. A lot of the tax preparers, the paid tax preparers, will not undertake like earned income tax credit or child tax credit, because that requires verifying the children. And again, that is a process, and they might either charge for that or just not do it. So here at VITA, we like to make sure that our tax filers get the refunds that they're entitled to. All right, so what are some of these credits that we're talking about? There's the earned income tax credit. Now, from the data that we have here at VITA, 1 out of every 4 households eligible for the earned income tax credit in Arizona don't actually claim it. So we work with tax filers to make sure that if they are eligible for earned income tax credit, that they access it. We also assist with the child tax credit. That can be up to $2,000 per child, at up to age 17. Hello, welcome. Thanks for coming. We just started, so we're just going over some credits now.
Sorry for being late.
Oh, that's okay. We're glad that you're here. So yeah, we literally just started. We're the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. So volunteers are really critical to the running of the program. So without our volunteers, we wouldn't be able to provide this service to the community. So right now, we're just going through some of the credits that we help our tax filers access, that oftentimes a paid tax preparer, so like if you go to H&R Block, they may not want to undertake this process with you because it requires verifying the children in your care, which is a bit of a process, but we feel it's really important, and it can also result in a lot of credits. Okay, so that's just catching you up. All right. So we also, we're in a university town with the University of Arizona and Pima Community College. So education credits can also be really important to students. There is a bit of complexity with those credits, but we have very skilled preparers. And so if you are eligible to access the education credits, we help you get those. We also assist low-income taxpayers to access the Arizona property tax credit as well. And you'll see the earned income tax credit is a very powerful tool. So we had one family that we assisted last year. They had 4 children, 2 adults and 4 children, and they received a $13,500 refund, which was the biggest paycheck they received all year. And of that, over 5,000 of it was the earned income tax credit. Okay, so that the earned income tax credit can really help individuals lift them out of poverty. It can also reduce stress within the family because you get a large injection of income. It can improve nutrition because the families are able to afford healthier food and access to medical care as well. And then having a happier home, we know, reduces stress and improves educational outcomes as well. So we really see it as a holistic approach to the well-being of families that access our services. All right, so how do tax filers use their refunds? So these are from surveys that so when a tax filer comes to the site, they fill out a little survey after they complete the service. So we know that about a third of the families use their refunds to pay rent, mortgage, and utilities. Okay, so these are some basic household expenses. About a quarter use it to to pay down debt, another quarter for groceries, and then 20% for home and car repair. So we really know that these credits and these refunds really do help families meet their basic needs. And again, it just exemplifies how important it is not to have to pay for a tax preparation fee as well. That those for a basic return, it's about $250. And that's just with one W-2. All right, so what was our impact last year? So VITA is the largest tax preparer in the state of Arizona. So last year we prepared more than 15,000 returns, and this is through working with our partners across the state of Arizona. These 15,000 returns resulted in $17 million worth of refunds for our tax filers. That works out to be about $1,100 or so per individual on average. And of those $17 million in refunds, $6 million were from the earned income tax credit. So we know how powerful that is. That's about 35% of total refunds come from that one credit. So it is really important to access that for families that are eligible. Okay, in terms of our volunteer impact, we had 157 volunteers at United Way, so working with us, about a dozen sites around southern Arizona. We have about 400 volunteers across the state, so we work with some partners up in northern Arizona. We also fly a helicopter into the Grand Canyon as well to help some people who live down in the Grand Canyon file their taxes. So that's pretty exciting. Over the course of the tax season last year, our volunteers put in about 6,500 hours worth of volunteer time. And that translates to about 40 hours during the tax season. Tax season runs about 10 weeks. So you're looking at about a 4-hour commitment a week, which is generally a shift a week. Okay. So yeah, the season runs from the beginning of February through April 15th. So that's the 10 weeks right there. All right, so it's with your help. Oh, is somebody talking? No, okay. And as I said, without the volunteers, we would not be able to run the program. So we really, with your help, we can continue to provide this really essential service to the participants in our community. And we're really excited this year because we have a couple new sites. We have, so this map, it's actually a little bit outdated, but we have a new site at Dunbar Pavilion, which is close to downtown. And we also are now managing a few more sites down in Green Valley, so the Sawarita Food Bank. We also have a new site out in Vail at the Vail Resources Center, so that's the food bank out in Vail. Unfortunately, we'd hoped to work with the University of Arizona, but that unfortunately isn't going to happen this year. But we do have, here are the sites in the Tucson area, and a bit later on in the presentation, I'll also show you a chart with kind of the days of the week that each of those sites are open to help you kind of visualize where you might be able to volunteer. All right, so if you imagine each one of these sites is going to, if it's a full service site, is going to need volunteers in a number of roles. These roles include intake. If you're a Spanish speaker, we are always looking for interpreters as well. Those two roles don't require tax certification. You do have to do a volunteer standards of conduct test, which is 10 questions, multiple choice. So it's nothing challenging, but it's more just so that you understand the ethics around preparing people's taxes, because you are dealing with personal sensitive information. So that we have guidelines to help you make sure that you respect the information that you're handling. In addition to those roles, the interpreter and the intake specialist, we have the tax preparer. The tax preparer is kind of the backbone of the volunteer crew. They're the ones that are in there with the tax filers preparing their returns. And then we also have a quality review, one or two people who glance over the returns to make sure that we have access to all the credits that a family or an individual may have access to. This was what sets us apart from the paid tax preparers as well. We always cast one or two more sets of eyes on each one of those returns. So that makes sure that our returns are correct and as error-free as possible, and maximizing the credits for individuals. And then each site is managed by a site coordinator, and the site coordinator is the most senior volunteer on that team, and they help manage that site. All right, so how does it work? Okay, so we have a variety of different ways that you can get your taxes done at VITA. As you saw in that previous slide, there's an in-person sites. So that's when you would rock up with your social security card, your ID, and all your tax documents, meet with an intake specialist, and fill out a questionnaire, and then you would start the process of completing your return. We also have a virtual option called Get Your Refund. It's also known as the Hub, which can get a bit confusing, but Get Your Refund and the Hub are the same thing. So that's our virtual online platform. So for people that are comfortable uploading documents, this is a great way. You don't have to go to a site. You don't have to potentially wait for your turn. I can speak from personal experience. Before I even joined United Way, I actually used Get Your Refund to complete my taxes. And it was a really easy process, kind of start to finish, 2 weeks. So we'll go through that a little bit more. We also have a few intake only sites. So this is where you could bring your paperwork. Somebody would assist to scan it into the Get Your Refund platform. And then you would come back and pick up your paperwork and sign the return. Or you can have it also sent to you electronically. Then we have the fourth option, which is what we call the DIY workshop. So do-it-yourself taxes. So basically we set up like a computer lab. This is for people who are a little bit more confident, who might be able to manage the tax software themselves. So yeah, we try to cater to different needs and abilities within our community. So last year, about 85% of our returns came through those in-person sites and about 14% virtually. And then the rest were kind of in the DIY workshops. All right, so what is the actual process? So the process is pretty much the same, whether or not you go to an in-person site or you're doing it virtually. The tax return follows the same flow. So the first step is meeting with an intake specialist. So this would be at an in-person site. If you're virtual, the first person that looks at the documents that you've uploaded to that site is your intake specialist. Let me try to say that. So they complete what's called a 13614C, which is your intake questionnaire. And then once that's complete, then you can actually start on the tax preparation process. So then you would go and sit with a preparer and they would enter all your details into the software and prepare your return. Once that return is prepared, then you go to a quality reviewer. So you sit with a quality reviewer and they check your return. They check to make sure that it's been entered properly and that all of the credits that you're potentially eligible for have been accessed. And then as a final step, the site coordinator finalizes that return. You would sign it and then it would get transmitted electronically to the IRS. Okay, so at an in-person site, from start to finish, we like to say it can take about an hour. And that's for, a straightforward return. Obviously, if there's some complexity, it might take you a little bit longer, but we find that on average, for a tax preparer tax filer that just has 1 or 2 W-2s straightforward, we can usually attend to them in about an hour. When it comes to virtual, it can take anywhere between 2 to 3 weeks, but it really depends upon the tax filer and if they're responsive. So if the online person needs another document, but the tax filer isn't sending that document, that's obviously going to delay that return. Okay. And then as I touched on, we have the DIY workshops. Again, that's about a 4 to 6 hour open computer lab. We have volunteers such as ourselves there to assist the taxpayers to run through that software themselves, enter all the information and prepare their own return. And we do have a number of DIY workshops that are scheduled for the Quincy Douglas Community Center. I think Liz Rabago will be organizing those in, I want to say, February. All right, so how do we know if VITA is right for you? So this again is from surveys that we've done with our volunteers, our tax preparers, and almost 3/4 of them, it's really important to help other people. So we really, VITA volunteers are often very much motivated by their own experiences with filing taxes, their frustration, the cost. If you've had a bad experience with a paid tax preparer, you don't feel like you're being heard. So if you want to make a difference, VITA is a great place to come. We do have a significant portion that really enjoy doing taxes. So the CPAs, the students of accountancy, the number lovers, we love you at VITA. And if you like doing taxes, this is the place to be. And then we also have some employers require it as well, because as a VITA a volunteer, you can also earn continuing education credits. So then we have a quote, I love VITA and all the people that work on it. It makes such a difference. And this is from an employer. Obviously, this is a way for their employees to volunteer in the community. So what would you get out of volunteering with VITA? So there's many benefits. So you know that you're providing a crucial service in your community. You're really helping individuals in the low to middle income brackets. You also are trained to be a tax preparer. This will make you very popular with your family and friends because you can answer tax questions as well. And it's also very empowering to understand the tax because we have to pay, we have to do taxes every year. So you might as well, get a handle on it. You learn to develop a valuable skills, interacting with people in your community. And, you know, hard and soft skills, organizing your time, learning new software applications. As I mentioned, you can also get your continuing education credits. For those that are inclined, you can progress through the VITA program. So if you've had a couple years being a tax preparer, you can progress to being a quality reviewer, which is, again, a very important role within our program. And then if you really want to take it to the limit, you can be a site coordinator as well. And that involves managing the logistics of the site that you manage. So there's lots, it's very rewarding. And you leave shift knowing that you've had a direct and meaningful impact on the financial well-being of individuals and households in your community. And so, yeah, as I said, without our volunteers, we really could not provide this essential service in the community. So what are some of the roles? I think I've touched on them earlier. There's the intake specialist, which is that first point of contact when you come to a tax site or you engage with the Get Your Refund virtual platform. So that intake specialist will go through that intake form to make sure that you've answered all the questions properly. And then we also have Spanish interpreters. As you might imagine, in our community, we have a lot of Spanish-speaking tax filers, and oftentimes they do not speak English.
Can you do both?
You can do both, yes. They're not exclusive. So if you speak Spanish and you want to be a tax preparer, then you wouldn't necessarily have an interpreter role, but you know, you would get Spanish language tax filers funneled to you. Okay. But again, that Spanish interpreter is a really critical role because we don't want to turn people away. We don't, you know, but because of a language barrier. And tax preparer, that is the backbone of the program. And then we have the advanced leadership roles, and that's the quality reviewer and the site coordinator. All right, so as I've touched on, certification is a really important aspect of this program. So being IRS tax certified carries a lot of weight. It is something that you can add to your resume. And because you're certified on an annual basis, you will be updated on changes to the tax code. You're not expected to memorize anything. What you're expected to learn is know where to access the information in the resources that we provide you. So as a language interpreter, there's a basic training that's just welcomed by the volunteers, and then you have the volunteer standards of conduct. I touched on this before you ladies arrived. That's basically our ethics piece. So that is just a roadmap on how to engage with tax filers. You are not allowed to accept any donations or fees for preparing taxes. And you have to act in, you know, respect the client's privacy in terms of their personal information as well. All of these tests are multiple choice. The tests are open book, and you have 2 chances to pass the test, and you have to get 80%. So the volunteer standards of conduct is a 10 question test. Multiple choice, you have to get 8 out of 10 to pass. The intake specialist, that is another, I believe that's 10 questions as well, multiple choice. Then you get to your tax preparer. That's a bit more of an in-depth test. That's scenarios, so real life scenarios. So you're basically given an example of a tax preparer who comes in with a W-2 and a couple other forms, and then you have to pretend like you're working out the tax return and then fill in the answers. Again, multiple choice. Again, that's 35 questions, open book. Then you have a quality reviewer module as well, and then a site coordinator module. And those are for those more senior roles. And again, those tests are all taken on an annual basis. And if you do, have an issue with a question, we provide study sessions as well. So that you can either come in person or virtually and get your questions answered. So we're here to support you through the training process. It is not supposed to be anything scary. We're all certified. We get certified on an annual basis. So I always tell people, if I can do it, so can you. Okay. So anyone have any questions about kind of the training? So the training modules are all online. So once you complete your registration or you sign up to be a volunteer and you select your role, then you will receive links to the trainings that you need to complete. Okay, and the trainings are linked directly to the exam book. So you get the exam book. Here's your questions. And it has all the multiple choice answers in there as well. And we're here to help you work through. If you have a question that you just don't understand, you can send a ticket through our fresh desk, which is our help desk, or you can come to one of our study sessions. All right, and so how much time, what is the time commitment? So depending upon the role, it can be anywhere from 4 to 20 hours of training. So the volunteer standards of conduct, that might maybe take you an hour to do. Again, the intake might take you another hour or so. And then the tax prep can take anywhere between 10 and 20 hours. So if you're a CPA and you've got like a lot of background in taxes, you're going to be able to cruise through it much faster than somebody who is not experienced in that way. But you don't have to be a tax preparer by any stretch of the imagination to provide tax support at the VITA program. So you have between now and the middle of January to complete the training. And then the tax season starts on February 7th and runs through April 15th. So that's 10 weeks. And during that season, the tax season, we expect volunteers to basically sign up for one shift a week. So if, let's say, you want to be at Quincy Douglas Center on a Monday from 4 to 7 p.m., you sign up for that shift, and we ask that you try to make it every week to that shift. And if you can't, just, it's really important that you let your site coordinator know so that we can try to fill in that slot. Because as you can see, we rely on having a team at each site to be able to provide the service. We couldn't provide the service if we just had one tax preparer at a site. It would just be too much for that individual. And then you wouldn't be able to do the quality review. All right, so we're looking at about a 40 to 50 hour commitment through the tax season. And there's some individuals that might want to volunteer for more than one shift, and you're more than welcome to do that as well. There's no limit to the number of hours that you can volunteer at VITA. So what are the next steps? So right now, if you haven't completed the sign-up form, there'll be a QR code that pops up, and I thought I brought.
They're right here.
Oh, and there's also an iPad here as well that we can set you up to sign up on the spot. So we're looking now, we're in mid-November. So mid-November to December, this is when you would do your training. And we have these office hour info study sessions as well that you can drop in and attend, as well as pick up your materials as well. So this is really your time to do your studying and get your certification underway. And then December, January, you would complete your assigned training, pass the test. So you can work on your tests in this booklet that you will get. It's also available online. I'm kind of an old-fashioned person. I like to, work with paper and pen. But then you will need to transfer your answers into the Link and Learn web page. That is the IRS testing site. So you, it's basically identical tests, so it's the same test. You would just have to, like, what I do is I copy my answers straight into the test. It gets graded, and then you get a certificate. So that certification needs to be completed by the end of January. And then you would receive your site assignment, so you would be allocated a site, so you can, let us know what your preferences are. I'll show you the schedule in the next slide or so. And then the season begins in February. So that's the QR code, but we've got it on paper there. And here is, whoopsies, what did I just do?
There it is, you're back.
Oh, I'm back, okay. I must have pushed the button. Okay, so we have a couple more information sessions. We have, actually, no, this is the second to the last one. We have one on December 3rd. So if you know anyone else who might be interested, please have them attend. Okay, that's our little QR code, but we've got it on the paper. And then here is the schedule. So you ladies might need to come up a bit closer to see it, but it's got basically all the sites and then the days of the week that those shifts are. We're still working on a couple. But yeah, this is pretty close to being final. Unfortunately, the University of Arizona is not a site. I need to update that. But yeah, I will leave this up for you to have a look at. So if anyone has any questions at this point, fire away. I know that's a lot of information.
Yeah, I have a question. Do you have this like I don't know, the shifts for like the virtual? Is it like, I'm assuming it's a little different.
Yeah, that's a good question. So the virtual is basically you can work when it suits you. Like we have one volunteer in Texas. She's a night owl. That works for her. So the virtual really is a fantastic option if you work at odd hours or, aren't available like in person, such as yourself, Dee Dee. Yeah, is there a limit on that, Alan?
There's
or
no
not?
limit on.
No. Oh, so on the virtual, generally we would like you to kind of do a shift a week. So 3 to 4 hours a week so that we can count on you during that time. But generally, yeah, the virtual, it's not regulated like the in-person sites. Is that clear, Dee Dee?
Yeah, that's clear. Thank you for clarifying that. And just lastly to follow up, so next steps, you said fill out the form and then do we need to like email, I don't know, you or Alan that, hey, we filled out the form and
No, I received notification that you filled out the form. And then when I receive that, depending upon what role you select, I will enroll you in the correct training for that role. So all the trainings will include the the welcome module and the volunteer standards of conduct. And then if you're intake, you will have an intake module. And then it kind of builds. And then so if you want to be a tax preparer, you will receive the volunteer standards of conduct, intake, and tax prep. And then if you're a site coordinator, then you receive all of them. So it builds as you progress in the roles, if that makes sense. So everything's
that makes a lot of
automated.
sense. Perfect. Thank you.
Yep, no worries. Anyone else have questions?
Yes, I have a question. I fill out this, I don't know if it's the same form, but I did one exactly like that.
Okay, but we can just double check, Martha.
They sent us something in my email yesterday, and they asked so many questions like where and what are the days that you like to volunteer, so.
Oh, okay, so you filled out the form?
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah, okay. So we can double check. So Martha Rucalba, it looks like you are enrolled. You haven't selected a site yet, if you go over.
Yeah, that's my next question.
Yeah.
I'm in Benson, and I'm interested in person to do it in the volunteer hours in person, but I
Okay.
don't know where, like I'm lost. I don't know where.
So Benson, is that out toward, isn't that Vale? Would Vale be
Yeah,
the
it's
closest?
Yeah,
closest.
Vail or
Mhm.
Sierra Vista.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a Fort Huachuca site,
Yeah.
but that one is full, I believe. That is, they have all the volunteers that they need. So how far is Vale from you? That might
Well,
be.
it's good. It's good. I was willing.
Vale
I,
has Monday, Tuesdays, and Saturdays at Vale.
can you say it again, please?
So Mondays from 11 to 2,
Mm-hmm.
and then Tuesdays 2 to 5 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
and then Saturdays 8 to 11. And that's the Vale Resources Center. So that's where the food bank is in Vale.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm not sure I don't think it's that far off the highway.
No, it's good. I
Yeah.
was willing to travel the way to, I think it's on Congress, I believe. The
It's
main office.
Colossal Cave Road. It's from what I've heard, it's between two train tracks. So if you like get stuck when the freight trains are coming, you can have a bit of a wait.
Yeah, like I said, I was willing to travel the way to Tucson, but it would be nice if
Yeah.
it's closer.
Yeah, Vale will definitely be closer for you, Martha. So what you do is when you fill out, so you filled out your form, we'll indicate Vale on there for you. And do you have a preference in terms of time or not? Like day of the
Yeah,
week?
yeah, and also I need your advice because I'm a Spanish speaker. Do you think that site will be good for me too?
I believe so. I believe that there will, that's a new site for us, but I imagine that there will be Spanish speaking clients. And I don't know if we have any other interpreters there, so that would be a great asset for that site, Marta.
Okay.
So I'll put you down for Vale, and then if you could just think about in terms of, I've shared with you the shifts that are available. So if you could just let us know which one of those shifts would be preferable, so you're not given something that's not convenient for you.
I will say Monday from 11 to 12.
Okay, Monday,
You said 11 to 12 or 11 to 2?
11 to 2,
Oh yeah, 11 to 2, yes.
11 to 2. So that's a 3-hour shift.
Yes.
Monday's 11 to 2. Wonderful. Okay, well, we'll note that in
Switch it over. I got it in the notes
yeah.
for now.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Did you see mine too, that I'm registered?
So Maria, let's look at Maria. We've got a couple Marias. What's your last name?
Hernandez.
Hernandez. Yep, looks like you're there. She's down here. Maria Hernandez. So we've got you, what site did she?
I think it Quincy Douglas.
Quincy Douglas.
Okay, so let's pop you down for Quincy. Oh, so you put no, you got Quincy Douglas there.
We have Quincy already.
And then did you have a specific day of the
I
week?
can do Mondays and Wednesdays, but Wednesdays I have to leave at 6:30. So I
Okay,
go to church.
okay, so Mondays and Wednesdays for Maria. That's all right. Let me write this down. Maria. Quincy Douglas, Mondays and Wednesdays. So what you would just like, we would let the site coordinator know that you have to leave at 6:30. But then, you would just make sure that they remember that every week.
Okay.
Okay, so you would be able to do 2 shifts a week. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much.
I was wondering if you can check if I'm registered too. I think I may have filled out the form. I'm not sure.
Okay, Diane, or is that Dee Dee?
Dee Dee.
Dee Dee, okay, you had 2 names pop up at
Yeah, first
once.
name Dee Dee, last name DAK.
Well, maybe just get out of there and just check, unfilter that. And just put it in the rubbish bin, and then everybody will show up. Let's scroll down and see if we can find Dee Dee.
Is it alphabetically?
Yeah. So
How are you spelling it?
So is it just DEDE?
DIDI.
Sorry, DID, it's kind of like Mimi. Okay,
Yeah.
DIDI. No, it doesn't look like it came through DD. So
No
what
worries.
you'll
That
want
means I probably didn't register. Yeah.
okay, so you'll want to, what I will do is after this meeting, I will send everybody a follow-up email. It'll have the link to sign up as well. And again, if you have any issues, just reach out to me. It'll also have links to the individuals that have come here will be able to pick up their materials. We will also have materials pick up December 9th, 10th, and 11th here at our United Way offices. But we will also send you the electronic links to the materials as well.
What are the days that you can be having like drop-offs or somebody wants to come in for training?
Okay, for our office hours, the next one is Thursday, December 5th from 3 to 5 p.m. And then we have Friday, December 13th from 9:30 to 11:30. So, I mean, once you enroll, or once you sign up, you will also be put on our mailing list. We send out periodic newsletters, and these contain really important information. So make sure to keep an eye out on your inbox for our newsletter, because this is when I also, the day before an office hour, which is basically what study session, I will send out like an email blast reminding everybody that we have a study session. Either if it's on a, let's say it's on a Monday, I'd send that blast off on the Friday. If it's during the week, I'd send it a day or two before. I just send it to everybody on the mailing list, and then you're free to drop in person or virtually. We will also have an in-person boot camp. So this is kind of a training 101 that is not going to be offered virtually. So that's only in person. And that's on the 10th of December from 10 to 12 noon in this very room. So if you want to come, so that's basically going to be how to navigate your way through a tax return. So looking at the intake form and then just working your way through a tax return. So that's helpful for new volunteers as well.
So that's what time was it, December 5th?
That one's December 10th, the training boot camp.
Right, but the first one, the December 5th.
The December 5th is 3 to 5 p.m. And that's office hours study session.
Right.
That can be accessed virtually, whereas the boot camp is in person.
I wonder if we can
What-
yeah.
At what time did you say boot camp on December 10th?
Boot camp is from 10 a.m. to 12.
I wonder if those that sign up now or today, we could resend a newsletter. Would that be easy to do? Or I could probably help you with that. That would give them because that would give them kind of the list of what's going on. We tell who it is, or would that
I can't really reset. I can forward it.
be? That's what I meant. We could forward it to.
Yeah, we can
once.
forward you all the, like, we can tell who's registered today. And then we can just forward you. The newsletter went out. When did
Yeah.
it go out
Today.
yesterday?
Yeah, yes.
It went, yeah,
Yesterday,
I
yeah,
sent
I
it,
think
I
that
was
would
the
be-
one that sent it out,
yeah.
but it's all a blur now.
When will the boot camps, or when will the boot camp happen again? I'm gonna check in the chat.
December 10th,
December 10th?
December 10th from 10 to 12,
Okay.
Yeah.
Tuesday, December 10th.
And where is the site? And
Here at United Way.
Yeah.
So, do you want to pop in our address too, Alan?
Yeah.
So it's 330 North Commerce Park Loop. Not
Suite
really,
200,
yeah, so we're upstairs.
Upstairs.
It's pretty easy to find. We usually have a big sign outside, so you can find us.
Yeah, we're in the Community Resource Center. We're just west of downtown. The HUD offices are in the same complex. So just to give you geographically where we're at.
okay, thank you.
And sometimes GPS will make you go around.
Yeah.
Yeah, their
exactly.
buildings look alike, or we have the United Way on our building.
Yeah, just look up for the United Way sign. It's not on the ground floor. You have to look up into this, like the sky to see the United Way building. All right, and so does anyone have any questions or?
Cheryl has one in the chat that's pretty in-depth. She said, can you explain how the virtual shifts will work for a tax preparer? So, yeah, I could go ahead and answer that. Let me get on the camera.
Yeah, you go, yeah. Alan's more the virtual and I'm kind of more the in-person thus far.
Right. Hi, everyone. Sorry if I'm too tall. So Cheryl, to answer your question, largely a virtual tax preparer will work with one of our volunteer-facing systems known as the Hub. Basically, it's a big sort of management system of taxpayers that come in when they kind of enroll into a service called Get Your Refund. They essentially upload all of their documents, their tax documents, and we use that information that they upload to the Hub to sort of prepare the return in our tax prep service known as TaxSlayer. If you want, Cheryl, I'll send you an email with more detailed info on that. But basically, all you'll be doing is getting that information that the taxpayer uploaded to our Hub and essentially transmitting it over to their tax return in TaxSlayer. So if you have any questions too, feel free to type it up in the chat or message me directly. But again, if you want me to email you with more specifics on that, or if anyone wants more specifics on that, just let me know in the chat. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
So it is, I mean, the process is similar, but if you're face to face, you have the paperwork and then you enter the information into TaxSlayer, which is what we use to prepare the returns. So if you're virtual, you're going to be working off scanned documents and then just basically doing the same process, transferring the information from the documents that the tax filer has provided by scanning and then just entering that data into TaxSlayer. So you're basically working with two platforms. You're working with the Get Your Refund, which is kind of the management system, and then the TaxSlayer, which is the actual preparation software. So is that clear? Oh, sorry. I thought you had a question. All right, so does anyone have any questions? Any more questions? No? Are you all excited?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your time. I know it's a Friday afternoon, the week before Thanksgiving, so we really appreciate you all taking the time to learn about this really important service that we provide to the community. And for those that are still joining us online, if you, sorry, I'm talking to my computer. So if you want to come pick up your materials, so we have your tax test booklet, and we also have what we call the 4012, which is your reference materials, and then we have a VITA handbook on the inside as well. These materials will be available to pick up on December 8th, 9th, and 10th. So if you come to the boot camp, you can pick it up on that day. Or alternately, if you come to an office hour session, you can also pick up your materials as well. But yeah, the 9th, 10th, and 11th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. in our reception area. You can just come and pick up your binder. And then for those folks that are here, they can take their binders today. Because it's light reading for the holidays.
And for those that are long distance, this form, the 4012, is available digitally.
Yeah.
You can literally Google 4012 2024 IRS, and you can find it on the IRS website.
And when I send the follow-up email, it will have the
Give you-
links as well. So,
get all that.
you know, you don't have to wait until the 10th to come and pick up your materials. You can start working now. Or you can come pick them up at a study session. That'll be December the 5th from 3 to 5. But then I believe we also have one more information session, going the wrong way, on Tuesday, December 3rd as well. So if you want to pop in that afternoon, you can also come and get your materials on the 3rd of December. So just after Thanksgiving. Wonderful. All right. You can probably stop recording.